Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Ready or Not video. In this video, we're going to be covering the most recent Ready or Not development briefing, going over some of the most anticipated features that so many of us have been waiting to hear about. We're going to be covering the campaign/story mode, which includes progression, as well as briefings and some extra details with that. We'll also be taking a look at uniform and clothing options, including character customization, and finally, the new SWAT AI overhaul. Getting into it here, volume 63 of Ready or Not's development briefing, commander mode, and narrative. Attention officers. Thank you for joining us for the 63rd edition of our bi-weekly development briefing, November 3rd, 2023. Today we want to go through in depth on what you can expect from the game's campaign mode and narrative. The main focal point of these changes is what's known as commander mode, the name of our new campaign mode that brings with it countless new immersive features. In Los Sueños, how you enter the fatal funnel of each door will seal your fate and that of those around you. Some of the elements from commander mode that we will cover are the progressive mission unlocks, permadeath, roster system, behavioral traits, officer therapy, and HQ expansion/functionality. In the second section of this briefing, we will also detail progress on our narrative techniques, such as briefing messages, on-call officers, interactive audio device storytelling, novel tools for storytelling such as modular vehicle license plates, and the accompaniment of auxiliary in-game organizations. Throughout this briefing, you will see media that portrays the various topics we discuss. Please keep in mind that the development content depicted in this briefing is a work in progress and may be subject to change in the game's final state. Moving on, we've got a list of development briefing summary points that we're going to go through, starting off with single-player unlocks. Missions for single-player unlock one after another in order of completion. Single-player playthroughs will have a permadeath for each of your officers. There will be an Iron Man mode, and in Iron Man mode, your save will be deleted if you die. Also, there will be a large amount of unique behavioral traits for the officers and your long potential roster, which will impact the gameplay style of your team. Mission conduct outcome will affect mental health of your officers. Unbearable levels of stress will cause them to quit or worse. There's over 5 new areas in the station with revamped existing areas such as the firing range and shoot house. There will be at least one unique briefing per mission that can take various formats, along with the extensive role that your tactical tablet plays for the most mission information. There's going to be 30 to 40 new interactable audio narrative devices added to the game. There's now going to be modular license plates on vehicles that allow us to easily customize all aspects of them during development to fit the sort of characters in each mission. We'll now have a description of some of the law enforcement organizations present in the narrative. These are federal law enforcement agencies, including DETE, Drug Enforcement Tactical Element, FISA, Federal Investigation and Security Agency, the Marshals, and the Park Service. Take command. In the boots of David Judge Beaumont, you are the commander of the LSPD SWAT team. This is by no means a figurehead role in-game for commander mode. It is up to you to compose your team for a dynamic roster, pick your plans, give orders, keep your teammates as well as yourself alive and healthy in mind and body, and conduct your missions with integrity. All 3 major systems detailed in the section below, including permadeath, officer traits, and mental health, interplay to provide an additional layer of tension to your team's success and conduct in a mission. In commander mode, your mission score is meaningful, and the specific conduct used to achieve the score will lead to a subsequent long-term impact on your team, positive or negative. If you arrest all the suspects but kill a civilian, expect detrimental repercussions on your team's stress levels. High-stakes progress. The extreme state of systematic despair in Los Sueños has left everyone at risk. The dangerous nature of your encounters will spiral the further you go. Lives taken is further violence, and it's your duty to uphold what dignity you can for future prosperity by diffusing hostile situations that are too far out of hand. Unnecessarily escalating these missions makes them more unpredictable and turbulent for all involved. This escalation will often provoke suspects and civilians to resort to more drastic measures in missions. Each successful completion of a given mission will unlock the next one in succession for single player. The story of Los Sueños and the trials that you face will unveil themselves to you in each mission as you come across them. Officer permadeath for all single player playthroughs means your team members won't get a second chance. Our new SWAT AI has an exceptional increase in their survivability and tactical effectiveness, but it's up to you to make sure that the specific tactics you order are sound in each unique decision in game. If a SWAT officer dies, there will also be a negative impact on your team's mental health. Iron Man mode makes your own survival imperative, or you risk the deletion of your save when you, as the commander, die. We've got a picture here showing off the save slots for commander mode along with Iron Man options. Looks like we're going to get one option that we can do for a normal game mode and one option that we can do for an Iron Man. So you'll have a normal save and an Iron Man mode save. Moving on from that, we've got squad composition. Your roster will consist of a pool of unique SWAT officers with varying behavioral traits, specialties, and backgrounds from all across the city of Los Sueños and its surrounding counties, topped off with a broad selection of high-quality studio voice acting. The composition of behavioral traits of the officers in your roster have an effect on team's operational effectiveness for different command styles. Some work-in-progress types of behavior traits are explained below. Players who orient their gameplay around more aggressive tactics may choose officers that have a higher resilience to stress, meaning the traumatic situations they encounter might not seem to affect them as much. Alternatively, players may prioritize having a team with high level of situational awareness instead, with the veteran trait allowing them to detect traps without having to check first. The moral officer trait will contribute to a team's higher level of emotional relief resulting from taking suspects alive. Furthermore, for multiplayer co-op PvE, you will be able to choose character voice lines and head options in cooperative, of which there are 13 unique voice-acted characters and a total of 18,445 lines of dialogue in different situations, both quiet and loud contexts. And I want to elaborate on that there because that is absolutely phenomenal. More than 18,000 lines of dialogue. I just want to point that out. There are also 26 unique officer head models across 4 general ethnic backgrounds. Moving on from that right there, we've got value of conscience. How your team conducts itself in a mission and the scenarios they encounter can lead to a psychological effect on your officers that is critical to address to ensure proper effectiveness in the field. Your officers will receive check-ins with a mental health unit attached to your team who relays the outcomes in their respective files. If an officer's mental status becomes unbearable, it may even lead them to quit or worse. We aim for stress to be a meta-game loop that reinforces good decision-making and respect for the encounters against threats and non-threats. While you may succeed to killing every suspect in a level to keep your officers safe, you will not be able to do so with impunity. The toll it takes on your team to witness such brutal and aggressive tactical decision making will have a run-on effect and will cripple your team's composition. We've got pictures here that I'm going to display on screen, pretty much going through the different mental health review screens in the game, following the completion of various missions, showing differing physical and mental statuses across the team, along with advice from the mental health unit. Next, we're taking a look at the police station layout and how it's going to be different. Your home base. The station is more than just a place you wait before each mission. It is the central heart of your operations and the entire police department. With an overhaul of the existing station rooms, an already shown new building, and over 5 entirely new areas within the building, there's plenty of room in your home throughout the course of the story. We've got a picture here of a semi-obscured blueprint of the new station. They say they're going to leave the most of the newer areas for you to explore later on. The shoot house within the new station now contains a new layout and timer to count your completion time, put your skills to the test, and compete for skill and glory. An improved shooting range with targets that have a higher level of interactivity is also included. Targets on rails are able to move forward and backward for easy analysis of your shot grouping. Reflex training targets are now also available, with targets that fall and stand back up between shots, as well as a muscle memory training target that alternates back and forth with each successive impact. Between each of your missions, head to the evidence locker to examine sorted mission-specific pieces of intricatively, oh my god, I can't say that word, I apologize, detailed 3D modeled evidence, accompanied with a detailed description that relates to the deeper lore of each mission you complete. Although you may not be a detective, utilize this opportunity to get an additional insight on the world of Los Sueños to recap your team's accomplishments. The evidence you will find here sometimes also shine a light on the experiences of survivors, victims, and otherwise innocent people caught up in each mission story. Moving on, we've got narrative techniques. Your environment is even fuller in storytelling than ever before. With fleshed out narratives for each mission that are accompanied by countless narrative devices, you will be fully immersed in the world of Los Sueños. However, the dreams of the named city alludes to are occluded by the nightmares manifesting all around it. Tread carefully as you scour these depths. Briefing messages, on-call officers, interactive audio device storytelling, modular vehicle license plates, and auxiliary in-game organizations are all elaborated upon in this section. Your briefing. Each mission will have a unique briefing setup that can take various formats with at least one briefing media per mission. Excerpts from these briefings will be visible on your tactical tablet to review during the mission for any operationally relevant information. We've got a picture here of a placeholder and an example of one of the briefing screens. It also looks like we've got a 911 operator dispatch audio as well that we can go through that. I don't know if that's a separate thing or if that is a part of the briefing as well. Most of your team's operations can be monitored and controlled within your tactical tablet as an immersive interactable menu, allowing extensive information to be available at a glance without breaking your immersion. On call. We've shown off a glimpse at some of our rapid response outfits in the past, but there's a further narrative and purpose to being able to customize your SWAT outfit for non-uniform wear. During commander mode, your fellow officers in missions may at times be unexpectedly needed for a mission while on call, meaning otherwise going about their normal personal life. This results in them wearing more casual wear to the scene itself, with the extremely wide potential of possible clothing combinations between our new different gloves, vests, helmets, boots, eyewear, shirts, pants, and more. We've got a picture here of an example of a rapid response outfit in the customization screen that your officer will most probably have in these types of scenarios. They also add that they will have a helmet as well. Most of the time, SWAT officers will carry helmets in their vehicles when they're on call, either way. Ear to the ground. The calls you've already been hearing in the station phone line were just scratching the surface. Aside from the briefings, there will be between 30 and 40 new interactable audio narrative devices added to the game. These new interactable audio narrative devices will be scattered around various missions, including the police station. Character-specific licenses. Perhaps one of our most novel narrative features, this one is parked outside of every mission you visit, framing not only the location and context, but the sorts of individuals that are present in the mission before you even make entry. An initiative, fully customizable modular license plates allows us to choose between occupations and organizations to suit different characters in the game when first developing a map, enhancing environmental storytelling further. Note that by modular, these plates do not necessarily change each time you load a mission. This is more of a development workflow technique. This feature is the perfect complement to our large array of new vehicles shown in the Volume 61 briefing. These plates even have the alternative styles for each variations, and the plate numbers are easily customized as well as randomized with a click of a button to ensure every vehicle you encountered is properly unique. For example, outside the hospital you will see a swath of hospital staff affiliated license plates. Auxiliary organizations. Your team may be elite, forged from tough beat that is Los Sueños, but you're not the only law enforcement group in the narrative, and you're not alone in your struggle. Federal law enforcement agencies play a large role in the narrative as well, helping set up operations for your unit, follow leads, and separately conducting operations away from your team. Among just a few of the law enforcement organizations operating Los Sueños that you will encounter throughout the narratives we've got the DETE, Drug Enforcement Tactical Element, who are a specialized unit working with Los Sueños Police Department's Narcotic Division. They elaborate closely with CBP, tactical teams at the border, and focus on combating drug trafficking. FISA, Federal Investigation Security Agencies, who acts as an investigative authority for the United States government. It is responsible for maintaining national security, investigating federal crimes, and protecting the United States and its citizens from various threats. The Marshals, who are an elite tactical unit responsible for executing high-risk warrants operations, typically involving federal crimes in lower-income areas of Los Sueños, including North Hills, San Ural, McCade, and Mirito Mesa. I don't know if I'm saying that right, probably not. Trained for precision and equipped for danger, they confront adversary head-on, upholding justice. Last but not least in this limited list, we have the Park Service, who is a highly trained law enforcement unit assigned to protect the national parks in Los Sueños area, including Sierra del Sueños. Tasked with combating drug traffickers, manufacturers, and other criminal enterprises that exploit these parks, the U.S. Park Police operates with specialized tactics and equipment to ensure public safety and preserve natural resources. Now finally, ending things off here in conclusion, conclusion, it will soon be time for you to truly take command of your team and the impact your missions have as you move through our immersive game world. There's even more parts to many of these systems that you will uncover as you progress through your playthrough. Before we sign off, it's been cooking, marinating, and well worth the wait, so here's a look at just a few capabilities of our highly anticipated overhauled SWAT AI. Now we've got a couple GIFs on screen, essentially displaying what the new AI are going to look like in action. We've got a GIF of the SWAT team stacking up. You've got the number 1 guy pieing out on his corner, and then the number 2 guy is going to take the room. And you'll notice that they obviously worked very hard on this, very close to how they would do things in real life. You got one guy taking one corner, you got one guy taking the other, and they go the opposite direction of each other. It looks really good, and this is just a small look. I'm very curious to see what else the SWAT AI is capable of. In the second GIF here, you've got what it looks like for the SWAT AI to clear underneath beds, which looks phenomenal. And this is probably just barely scratching the surface. Now, when I shared this with my SWAT group, I had a friend point out something with the first GIF. They're flagging each other, and this is something that they did originally before the overhaul. It would be nice if that number 1 man would release the angle for the 2 man before he cross breaches. For a lot of us, we don't really notice this, but for somebody who's a tactical guru, especially playing with a group of people where we try to implement real-world tactics, that's something that's obviously a little bit nitpicky. And again, not a lot of people are going to notice or care about this, but for immersion purposes, it would be nice if that was a thing. But that's really the only, red flag that I noticed with this overhauled SWAT AI is they're flagging each other. They're not releasing angles. But either way, that's everything to go off of there. I wish we had more in-depth stuff for the new SWAT AI, but at least we've got a little bit of a teaser, and I'm liking the way it looks so far. Thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm extremely excited to see what else we're gonna get. Ready or Not 1.0, the big update's gonna be right around the corner. It's gonna be here sooner than we think. We just gotta wait a little bit longer. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you in the next video.